Theresa May has suffered the most humiliating parliamentary defeat in modern history. Last night, her Brexit plan was defeated by a margin of more than 200 votes. But before the British Prime Minister could recover from that, another day of turmoil lies ahead of her. She is due to face a no-confidence vote in a few hours from now. Let's tell you more about the Brexit vote first. Last night, the British Parliament, after a heated debate that lasted 5 days, put Theresa May's Brexit deal to vote. The May government lost it by a crushing margin. 432 MPs voted against May's Brexit deal. Only 202 MPs were in favour of it. This phenomenal defeat was worse than the worst estimates. What could be called an insult to injury, a large chunk of Theresa May's own party MPs voted against her deal. Soon after the result, the opposition called for a vote of no confidence against the government.
I therefore, Mr. Speaker, inform you I have now tabled a motion of no confidence in this government. And I'm pleased that motion will be debated tomorrow, so this House can give its verdict on the sheer incompetence of this government and pass that motion of no confidence in the government.
Meanwhile, the clock is ticking for the United Kingdom. If Theresa May survives this no-confidence vote, she has 3 days to present her Brexit Plan B. Britain is scheduled to leave the European Union on the 29th of March this year. If there is no deal by then, that is the 29th of March, it will trigger a complete and abrupt breakup of the UK with the European Union. It's a no-deal Brexit then. This situation could create chaos at British ports and borders. There could be a shortage of certain food items and medicines. If there is no deal, it could kick up a recession in the Great Britain. Moving forward, Prime Minister Theresa May has promised to hold a dialogue with senior lawmakers from all sides, but she has also told Parliament that MPs must keep their expectations realistic. The opposition, led by Labour Party leaders, is calling for fresh elections. Ahead of the no-confidence vote, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn grilled the Prime Minister on a track record in Brexit, essentially calling the Conservatives incompetent.
This government has failed our country. It cannot govern, cannot command the support of most people facing the most important issue at the moment, which is Brexit. They failed again and lost the vote last night. Isn't it the case, Mr. Speaker, that with every other previous Prime Minister faced with the scale of defeat last night, they would have resigned and the country would be able to choose the government that they want?
Ahead of the vote, Prime Minister Theresa May defended her government with confidence, but clouds of uncertainty still remain over Westminster. No one seems to have an idea over which way Brexit is going.
I believe that if we fail to deliver on what the British people instructed us to do in the vote of the referendum, that the views of the British people, of this House, of Parliament and of politicians will be at an all-time low, because they will have lost faith in politicians across the whole of this Parliament.
Wion correspondent Jack Parrock joins us from Brussels. Good evening, Jack. In less than 24 hours, the second big vote for Theresa May. How are the odds stacked for her?
Well, actually, the odds are stacked in her favour. That vote will happen probably in about 3 or 4 hours from now. And it looks like her Conservative Party members are not going to revolt against her. They want to continue in a Conservative government and not launch fresh elections that the Labour opposition could potentially win. And the party, the DUP party of Northern Ireland, that props up her government because they only won a small minority, they would have had a minority government otherwise. They have said that they will vote in favour of the government. They want to remain in power as well, because it's unlikely they're going to have the ear of any other party if they do take government. So really this is now being seen as a sort of process. We all expect Theresa May to win this vote of no confidence. Jeremy Corbyn did have to call it after she got such a hammering in the vote against her Brexit deal yesterday. But now we'll have to see what Theresa May's plan is once she does, as we expect, win that vote. What will she come back to the table with? How will she want to proceed?
The European Union, indeed the entire world, is watching these developments. How does the EU assess what's happening in London?
Well, they've all said now that it's down to the United Kingdom to come back and say exactly what it wants. They've said that the deal that was on the table is the only deal possible to avoid a disorderly Brexit on March the 29th. And many of them have now been saying that it's really down to the UK to come back to the table to clarify exactly what it wants in these future negotiations. We have heard, for instance, from the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She says she believes there could be a little bit more time for renegotiation. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, he gave a little bit of wiggle room, saying that there could be some sort of fresh look at what the future relationship between the UK and the European Union could look like, but only if the United Kingdom were to reassess its own red lines. So there's a lot of interest in what's going to happen at the moment, but really they're saying that the ball is in the UK court.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how this plays out. Thanks very much for joining us, Jack.